Yeah.
So what's your actual body count? I said mine.
You did say yours, but you also told me that anything over 10 was expired. So I think I'm gonna keep that one to myself.
Okay, so there's your answer, I reckon.
It is over 10, but yours is too.
Yeah, it is.
So we're twins.
So yours is 15.
No.
Okay.
Mine's actually one less than yours.
14. That was pretty easy to get out of her.
Well, yeah, I wasn't like hiding it. I just, yeah.
Hey, can you give me some money?
No.
Fascist.
That is how you damage, that's how you ruin good men. If you are a woman who is not healed through their trauma, say you were in a past relationship with a man who was extremely abusive to you, and in your survival mode, you would match his level of intensity, so you would start yelling, screaming, calling names, throwing things in his face because he was doing it to you, and now you're in a new relationship, and you're with a man who doesn't do anything like that. He's a super sweet dude. He has his flaws, he frustrates you and gets under your skin a little bit. But once you enter fight or flight, and you're triggered, and you're living that scenario that you had with your ex, knowing that that is not your current partner, and you start throwing things in his face and calling him names and yelling at him and berating him because you can't control your emotions or resolve the trauma and the damage from somebody else, you are ruining that good man. And you're gonna take a little bit of a piece of him every single time that happens. And before you know it, you're gonna have all the pieces. He's gonna be a shell of a man of who he was. He's not even gonna recognize himself when he looks in the mirror.
Right.
Every single day is going to be Groundhog Day for him. He's going to wake up, know there's going to be conflict that day, go to work, come home, and know he is not going to be appreciated.
Yeah.
And because he's not going to feel appreciated, he's not going to appreciate you. And in turn, that's going to build more resentment in you. And you're going to continue to berate.
From the mouth of babes, pretty crazy that this was acknowledged by a woman with tattoos and a septum piercing. But hey, it's a strange world out there. More than ever, especially as tensions continue to rise in the West, women all over are trying to find different ways to justify their claim that they are the prize. That just because they have a checkered carousel past doesn't mean that these impressions have made a lasting impact. In fact, most of them take it a step further, arguing that because they got the Chad and Tyrone Club Hop special, this just means that they'll be even more valuable when the time comes for them to, quote, settle down and be an honest woman. Now, guys, we don't need an oracle huffing on gas fumes to tell us that feminism is just one massive excuse for behavior that can usually never be corrected. We know that the whole propaganda campaign is a honeypot, destined to try and wipe out all of the masculine principles that help us all reach higher and more purposeful goals. We know that usable does not mean dateable, no matter how hard they fight to prove otherwise. Before we go on with the video, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to Hector Montalvo, who shared, "I have seen zombies in The Walking Dead with more brain capacity than modern Western women, LOL. That's a gold star for you, my friend. Thanks for the comment. So please, don't forget to reach out to my email to claim your $5. As always, guys, I'll be picking one comment from each video. It could be the funniest one, the most liked, or just the most clever, so don't forget to leave a comment, and you may be our very next winner tomorrow. So be sure to hit that like and sub button too, as that helps out the channel a ton. And also, guys, we got a backup channel now linked in the description. I'll be posting similar stuff there too, so subscribe to that just in case. Link is right below. Now back to the video.
Embrace your masculinity.
Do you want me to explain why men care about body count?
I got it.
I haven't told you the reasons why
You don't
men
have
care
to
about it.
mansplain it to me. I'm okay.
What, mansplain? That's kind of a sexist thing to say. You don't. That's sexist to say mansplain.
You're literally a white man looking at me, telling me like,
What?
if you can't see how you being a white man has anything to do with like the power you have in conversation, then
What?
I don't even want to like talk about that.
What does my skin
Anyway,
color?
I don't wanna make it.
What does my skin color have to do with this conversation? We're talking about body
Nothing.
count.
Yeah. Okay. Nothing.
But
okay,
don't
you
don't
get
you
a girl
think
with
it
a low body
don't you think
count.
it's a bit racist to bring up skin color in a conversation, a dating related conversation?
I'm just gonna ignore your comment.
You said it, so I'm trying to understand.
No, it's okay.
You said the words.
I don't want to dig deeper into this.
You don't want to dig deeper.
I really don't.
Do you want to walk back what you said?
No, that's
Okay, you stand
we
by
can
it.
move on.
Ain't no kitten kid. It's a jumbo-sized sewer rat.
Mike doesn't know what the show is about today. Do you, Mike?
I have no idea.
Someone from a past relationship of yours wants to see you again. Do you have any idea who it might be?
This one girl I was kind of going out with before, she used to always talk about how she loved the Ricky Lake show. So.
Oh, yeah? What was her name?
Her name was Corey.
Let's see who that person is that brought you here. Come on out here. Debbie, why don't you tell him what the topic of the show is today?
Well, we were going out. I was a little stupid high school girl. And then you dumped me, and I wanted to say, I'm a woman of the 90s now. Look at me now.
Well, Mike, what do you have to say to that?
She looks great.
Do you have any regrets about dumping her?
We were young, and I was just like, I thought that was the best thing to do.
And you were going together in high school. Let's take a look at a picture of you from high school, Debbie. Wow. We have your boyfriend in the audience. Do you have anything you want to say to Mike?
I just want to say you broke up with her, you're done, so I shouldn't have to hear your voice on my phone message anymore. You're done with her, so.
Whenever I call, it's returning her phone calls.
Oh god, that simp got roasted harder than a Thanksgiving turkey. But here are the questions that really matter here. If a chick hops on a show to tell her ex that she doesn't care, does that really mean she's over him? If they go out of their way to hop on a silly podcast to prove they're still pure, are they immune to criticism? If a woman lies about body count, does that suddenly mean that she believes body count doesn't matter? Well, no. No to all three. Because here's the thing. People don't try hard to say they've evolved mentally or physically if they actually have achieved it. That goes without saying through their actions, who they are today versus what they might have been before. Again, women fight all day in an attempt to prove men aren't the prize, but if this were really the case, they wouldn't risk debasing themselves on podcasts or live TV to make that point. The funny part is, whenever they do, and they do this a lot, it becomes very obvious that they actually care a great deal what men think of them. They are, in one way or another, deeply ashamed of what they've done. That's consequently made them who they are, so they do what the feminist media has taught them to do. Shove all the embarrassment deep down, turn it into resentment, and target groups that literally had nothing to do with their self-inflicted suffering. And they do this for one real reason. They've been dumbed down, with an education that leaves them utterly incapable of understanding basic facts.
If you're homeless, just buy a house.
If you saved $1 a day for a year, do you know how much money you'd have? Roughly $30,000. If you go to a restaurant and you're like, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner? Like, that's the wrong mindset. You should be thinking, how can I buy this?
Day-to-day life, I don't need a man to fix my car. I'll just go to the mechanic.
You know what country the Great Wall of China is in?
Country?
Yeah.
Japanese.
Yes.
If NASA says it's too hot to go to the sun, then why don't we go at night when the sun turns off?
No, I just got a little dizzy.
How many first dates with different men in the period of 1 month time?
I would probably say like 30. Sometimes I'd go on coffee dates, sometimes dinner dates, sometimes lunch dates, just depends.
So like almost one date per day. Was there more?
No,
Did you ever
probably
go
not.
on 2 dates in one day?
Well, yeah, that's what I said. Sometimes it's a coffee date, sometimes it's a dinner date, and it also depends on like whether or not I have my kids, right? Like that's what I'm saying. It's a different posture whenever you're a single parent because you only have this amount of time without kids, or you have to pay for childcare, so you go and you get to know people.
Did you ever go on 3 dates in one day?
No.
So the max was like 2 dates one day? Did you ever cut a date short because you had another date coming up?
No.
Okay.
I'm a lot more disciplined than that with my time.
Okay. But you did go essentially on, in a 1 month period, you went on 30 dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not even talk about my 5-year singlehood life.
Was it more?
It's so sad.
No, sweetheart. What's sad is that you drew a parallel between going on a hustle date and discipline. And that's what I'm referring to when I talk about the Feminist Re-Education Project and why it exists in the first place. See, and I'm no expert on the topic, but pretty much any person with the slightest inkling of knowledge knows that nature has a way of correcting itself, that basic human biology shows what women desire, what men desire, and what is required to make this dynamic functional. Somewhere along the way, women change the way they behave in an effort to change what they are. with the result being that they can't even recognize themselves. They all deep down still want to be the housewife before the 60s, the one that cooks bacon when it comes home and doesn't have to worry about the bottom line, and yet they've gone so far in another direction that it's impossible for them to start over. It would take a generational shift without their involvement just to start the recovery process. So now, they're trying to sell the new model, trying to tell buyers that the smart car is the same as a Porsche. The glaring issue here is that men haven't changed how they behave, because we own who we are. We know what we need in our lives and we act accordingly, which means there's no way in hell that we'd compromise our beliefs. You only need to take a look outside to see the difference.
The amazing thing is the woman is supposed to be the follower. If I have a room full of men and they're talking, I say peace to the saints, they stop talking. I have a room full of women that keep babbling. How many of you are stronger than me? None of you. In that room full of men, some of them may be stronger than me, but they still stop talking. It's called respect. Why we would even have to escalate to this level is not necessary. When she speaks of her father, that's called authority. She said, I didn't do X, Y, and Z because of my father. The listening skills are consistently not there. Here's the irony. The female's supposed to be better at listening than the male. Men are turned in on themselves. You're supposed to have a baby and care about the baby more than anyone. Men run off on the baby. You always stay there. How can you not listen? So when we say peace to the saints, you respond peace to the saints and stop talking.
Rule number 2.
So how do you know if you should walk away from a woman? Getting closer, because your big sis is going to tell you. It's called victimhood. But what this looks like is much more covert than it might appear. Many men say that they want peace, that they want the mousy type. Personally, I'm Cuban, so I take offense to that because we're effing crazy, but whatever. You're going to want a woman who shares her thoughts, wants, and desires with you. Might come across as a little bitchy, but let me submit to you that covert narcissism is a lot worse fate because they like to live in the space between unexpressed and unmet expectations, which leads to cancer in relationships, and that's called resentment.
I shared this woman in a recent video, and there's a reason I'm sharing her take in this one. It has to do with a little something called cognitive dissonance, and it can be applied directly to the usable doesn't mean dateable thing women don't seem to understand. Whether you're a woman who yells a lot when spoken to, thinking you can't help it because of genetics, or a woman who argues body count doesn't matter because you've turned a new leaf and shared it, the end result never changes. You're still undateable. Women in the modern world think that enlightenment means understanding 50% of the issue, also known as I'm not willing to change, but I guess I can compromise. Well, ladies, good luck being single because men aren't about to turn the boat around for compromise, at least not in the way you interpret it. Real men work their asses off to be what they are today, actually earning their way to a decent living. They've scrapped together what they have, and with all of the information available, there's no way we'd sacrifice that effort for a woman that says, hey, I might be loud and naggy, derailing your downtime with meaningless chatter, but at least I'm not a covert narcissist. Once again, and it comes as no surprise to any of us, you've missed the point entirely. Men are the only ones that have the options here, not you. You don't get to determine what we choose to live with or advise us on what would be best. Why? Because you're not men. And yet you try and develop hierarchies in this new world as if any of us would line up to go on the ride.
Here we go.
Baby girl, we're in the same industry. We are. You spread your legs just as much as I spread my legs.
But I do not.
So how the f*** are you better than me?
I do not use my family for clout.
You'll put a big in your mouth. And you want to talk about family?
Yeah.
My family loves me. I bought my dad a car. I bought my brother a car. Pay my parents' bills. What do you do? Seems like you're selfish with your money. That's not going to get you anywhere. Pookie.
Okay, this is funny. Maybe not in the way the lonely fans girl think it is, but it is funny. Again, women think that they can escape shame with all the feminist rhetoric and sign waving, but the thing is they always end up in the shame Olympics when they do something, well, shameful. One thinks she's better because she doesn't hop on the old disco stick, while the other one thinks she's better because she has a supposedly better family dynamic. Then the one that thinks she's pure tells Blondie that because she bought her depressed father a car, suddenly everything's right in the world and she can have any man she wants when the well runs dry. But here's where they miss the mark, and I'll phrase it in the form of a question. What happens when the boyfriend or husband-to-be friend sends him a link to the leg spreading you performed for millions of simps for $5 a pop? Do you think that the guy in question is going to care that you bought a car for your old man? Do you think he's going to see your career choice, if one can even call it that, and think at least she sits down for dinner? Does any of this behavior turn on the green light in any high-value man's head? No. No, it doesn't. It does the opposite. Any real man that sees this is going to go for a checkup, then run straight to the gym and think, damn, that was close. And when that happens, which it will, any woman in this position will do what modern women do best.
Can we please put a time limit on bodies? I feel like a man that hit 10 years ago shouldn't be able to still claim that he hit. Me and 10-year ago me, we're not the same person. We're not the same person. She's been gone a long fucking time. You didn't hit this. You didn't hit this. The bar was in hell back then. There should be an expiration date, no?
Expiration date? Never.
I rate myself a 10 always because I look better and better every single day, regardless of what happens, and I need to always think that of myself.
10.
8
Maddie?
on a great day. But I think I'm beautiful inside and out.
So 10?
I wouldn't say 10, that's kind of vain. But I'm not going to rate myself because I don't like that question.
Mia, what about you?
I'd rate myself an 8.5.
Okay.
Like
Morgan?
I said 6 last time. I would do 7 maybe if we were allowed.
I give myself a 5. Andrew, what about you?
4.
Damn, guys, that's some brutal honesty. Something not found among the rest of the group here. And honestly, the rating system is only there to prove a point about how delusional women have become when it comes to how they perceive themselves. Any other use for it doesn't really matter. Why? Because it doesn't matter if a woman in this department is a 1, 2, 5, or 8 or better. If their past is packed with enough men to replace the US Navy, looks won't translate into long-term fulfillment, not when it comes to the wiring of the female mind. A long time ago, I had this high school buddy who was dating a solid 8, a 9 on a good day. The kind of girl that would make most OnlyFans simps lose their nest egg in about a week. And on the surface, she was sweet and kind. Really looked like some would say is the full package. But the only problem, as I would come to find out from the football team, is that, well, speaking of packages, she handled enough to make Bezos blush. When I told my friend immediately, as any good friend would do, he quietly sat down, assessed the situation, looked up at me and said, "Look, man, that's all in the past. She's the hottest girl I've ever dated, dude. I'm the real thing, and my fam is rich. She gets that." If this happened today, I'd give him a solid argument and then shrug and walk away. But at the time, I was a teenager, so I just kind of begged him to cut it off before it blew up in his face. Well, that didn't work, and the relationship just continued to snowball from there. They hung out all the time, met their parents, went on a trip to, Germany I think it was, and a year passed by without incident. There were even moments when he'd laugh at my past predictions a bit with the whole "I told you so" rant, but I was not convinced. Anyone who's been through this kind of thing knows exactly why I was skeptical. Well, it eventually happened, the inevitable, with 3 different guys in one day. It was like a Mentos and a Coke. She held on, but the pressure built up in the bottle, and then, boom, lesson learned. When he came to me demolished, I didn't laugh. I just said, well, now you know.
Can I have some money?
Damn! How much you need?
Whatever you feel like giving, kind sir.
The fact that I don't like when a woman see. Just like the fact that I'm a cool, fun nigga though. Like the fact I put out the stack like that, and I knew to bring that shit because I know, like, now I know, like.
I need a man that provides. That's
yeah,
pride in being a provider.
Like,
you feel me?
this is natural though.
Yeah, but I gotta make sure.
I brought this just for bait to see like who would jump out of line and just like skip every round just to run to the bag.
We don't want money. They probably just love you.
Nah, because the money come with some genuine shit. You get more when you're genuine, though.
I'm a genuine person.
But the fact that you got out of line...
We gonna be...
No. The fact that you got out of line and ran up to... That's crazy.
I want it.
Damn, that's a no.
Like, at the end of the day, it's still everybody want money at the end of the day.
I want money. Wait. I want money too.
Once again, people, usable does not mean dateable. The faster men who somehow haven't received the message understand that, the better. And I say men here because when it comes down to the women of the Western half, the journey to understanding isn't going to happen anytime soon. And how do we know this? Well, maybe it's because governments are trying to make conversations like this a crime. Maybe it's because the propaganda machine spends billions of dollars to teach kids that all of this is okay. Or maybe it's because...
unruly female is a woman who thinks that she's the leader. You know, she thinks that she's the boss.
A woman only does that when the man is childish. She has to lead him.
If you're not a slower, you wouldn't deal with a man that you don't see as a man you could be with forever. But the problem is a lot of these chicks out here are slowers and they don't want to admit it. Because the truth is the way women used to be when they're acting on their nature, they don't be giving out the goods to every dude. They're looking at them like, okay, if I get pregnant by you, are you going to be a good father? And are you going to be a good man to me? So they wait and figure that out, and then they give it up, and they only deal with guys that are qualified to lead. But the problem is y'all be going around getting smashed too much. And that's how you got all these complaints about dudes.
We're living in a new time now. Get with the times or get lost. And, like, I'm a woman of God.
Oh, hell no.
Delusion is at an all-time high, guys, but there's no reason that you have to go along with it. Instead, do things the natural way, the masculine way. Make the choices that you will be proud of. That's the key. The sooner that's understood, the better. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want to say I appreciate you. So don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that subscribe button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Man Guide Reacts, link is right down below in the description, so we can be sure our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, y'all.